So Elon Musk has been making absolute headlines lately, claiming that the upcoming Grok 5 model will be, quote, indistinguishable from AGI. And, much of the internet is treating this as a guaranteed reality. But a deep dive into XAI's documents, interviews, and leaked roadmaps reveals that the math on this claim, well, it doesn't quite add up. Welcome back to AI Verdict, where we do the research so you don't have to. Today, we're taking a factual, totally hype-free look at what Grok 5 actually is, its real specs, and if it genuinely brings us closer to AGI. This quote right here, this is what literally set the tech world on fire. When the founder of a company building the largest supercomputer on Earth says their next model will basically feel like artificial general intelligence, people listen. But in this explainer, our mission is to uncover if the technical specifications, the data pipelines, and the underlying architecture actually back this up, or if we're just looking at the most expensive chatbot ever built. So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the hidden AI roadmap, unprecedented scale and power, the real-time data pipeline, Grok 5 versus the competition, the safety question, and finally, is it actually AGI? Section 1, the hidden AI roadmap. Let's actually see how this builds over time, because XAI's rapid upgrade pace is wild. Grok is XAI's chatbot, originally launched back in November 2023. They follow that up rapidly with Grok 3 in February 2025, which brought some serious reasoning upgrades, and Grok 4 in July 2025. But look at what happens before Grok 5. XAI is quietly rolling out stepping stone models. We're expecting Grok 4.4 sitting at around 1 trillion parameters in late May 2026, followed quickly by Grok 4.5 at roughly 1.5 trillion parameters in June. They're essentially testing the waters at a massive scale before taking the final leap. Section 2, unprecedented scale and power. 10 trillion parameters. Grok 5 is slated to arrive in two massive variants, a 6 trillion parameter version and this colossal 10 trillion parameter version. Just to give you a sense of scale, GPT-4, the engine behind the most popular AI product on the planet, is estimated to be around 1.8 trillion parameters. Nobody has ever shipped a model at a 10 trillion parameter scale before. It is sheer, unprecedented absurdity in terms of size. And how do you even train something that big? Well, with 1 gigawatt of power. XAI is utilizing the Colossus 2 supercomputer facility out in Memphis, Tennessee. We're talking about roughly 550,000 NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs running simultaneously. That demands enough electricity to power an entire small city dedicated exclusively to training AI. And to keep those lights blinking and those chips crunching, it costs XAI an estimated $1 billion a month in compute alone. Just let that sink in. $1 billion every single month. Section 3, the real-time data pipeline. Now, standard AI models from competitors are generally trained on a frozen snapshot of the internet, right? They learn everything up to a certain date, and then their knowledge just stops. Grok 5, on the other hand, ingests live, real-time data streams. I really want you to think about what that genuinely means for a second. It's learning and adapting as human events unfold. And where exactly does that live data come from? Elon Musk's integrated empire. Musk describes Grok 5 as inherently multimodal from day one, so it's blending text, images, video, and audio continuously. It has access to the absolute fire hose of live tweets from X, real-world visual data from Tesla dashcams, and highly complex telemetry from SpaceX. This is a proprietary data pipeline that competitors simply cannot replicate. To handle all that data, Grok 5 needs a massive context window. While Meta's Llama 4 pushes a 10 million token window, Grok 5 is expected to be large enough to process entire codebases or even short films in a single pass. Architecturally, it relies on a mixture of expert setup. This is basically a clever design where the model only activates the specific parts it needs for a given task, ensuring it doesn't overload or melt the servers. And it will remain a closed proprietary model, meaning you can't tweak the base weights yourself, but you can layer on optional skill plugins through their API. Now, we do have to balance this with the hype. There are no official benchmarks for Grok 5 yet. While Grok 4 performed well on the ARC AGI reasoning leaderboard, until independent researchers test Grok 5 on standardized benchmarks like MMLU, we're operating entirely on Musk's claims of stronger code generation, better math, multi-step reasoning, and real-time video understanding. Okay, let's dive into Section 4, Grok 5 versus the competition. On raw scale alone, Grok 5 absolutely dwarfs the competition. You've got Meta's open source Llama 4 Maverick at 400 billion parameters, GPT-4 sitting around 1.8 trillion, and then Grok 5 cowering over them at up to 10 trillion parameters. But I have to remind you, in the world of artificial intelligence, bigger isn't always automatically better. Because those competitors, they have distinct, highly refined advantages. GPT-4 is highly optimized and has been brutally safety tested over years. Anthropic's Claude, at around 100 billion parameters, is heavily tuned for nuance, safety, and helpfulness. And Llama 4 is open source, allowing the entire global community to find edge cases and build specialized versions. So Grok 5's real edge isn't just its massive size. It relies entirely on its proprietary data streams and the fact that it operates with far fewer content restrictions than these competitors. Which brings us to Section 5, the safety question. There is a really distinct tension at play here. XAI has published a risk management framework to block severe harms, like weapons instructions, and they monitor live conversations on X. But simultaneously, XAI actively markets Grok's lack of content restrictions as a major feature. They want this model to freely engage with highly sensitive financial advice, medical queries, and controversial geopolitical topics that other models just refuse to touch. When you combine fewer restrictions with a 10 trillion parameter brain and real-time data access, experts point out some very factual governance risks. We're talking about the risk of highly sophisticated automated social engineering and the potential for incredibly convincing misinformation generated at an unprecedented scale. Compounding all of this is the fact that XAI hasn't published a public safety API or extensive external red team results like their competitors do. Section 6. Is it actually AGI? So the crucial point here is understanding the actual scientific definition of AGI. True artificial general intelligence means a system that can match or exceed human intelligence across essentially any domain. It must be able to autonomously learn new tasks on its own, reason through totally unfamiliar problems, and invent completely novel ideas. No model currently in existence, and yes, that includes Grok 5, meets this strict, rigorous standard. They are narrow systems pretending to be general ones. So what about Musk's claim? Expertly deconstructed, saying something will be indistinguishable from AGI is clever phrasing. It's essentially a Turing test claim. It means it'll feel general enough that the average person chatting with it won't be able to tell the difference. But that is a much lower scientific bar. Under the hood, Grok 5 will still fundamentally be matching patterns at a terrifying scale. It'll be an incredibly capable tool, absolutely, but it won't be demonstrating actual conscious human understanding. In fact, to completely ground the hype in reality, we just have to look at another quote from an investor talk. Even Elon Musk himself puts the odds of Grok 5 reaching true human-level intelligence at only about 10%. Look, Grok 5 is an incredibly ambitious project. It is backed by the largest supercomputer cluster ever assembled and fueled by a massive proprietary data empire. But you should stay skeptical about those AGI headlines. The true test of this billion-dollar-a-month architecture isn't the hype, it's the results. And the real indicator of success will be watching how those upcoming stepping stone models, Grok 4.4 and 4.5, actually perform against GPT-4 and Claude once they're released into the wild. If this breakdown helped you cut through the hype, hit that like button. It genuinely helps the explainer. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Is Grok 5 the real deal, or just the biggest marketing push in AI history? And make sure to subscribe to AI Verdict if you want us to cover Grok 4.4 the moment it drops. I'm out.